Welcome to episode 3, in which today we're going to be talking about the second concept, which is called press. So we talked about the brave step. Now we're going to talk about the next step, which is press. This is kind of the cocoon stage of the transformation process. It might be hard, it might be difficult to look on the inside during the brave step and decide that some things need to change. But then the press step is perseverance, where you say, okay, I'm going to keep pressing, I'm going to move forward, I'm not going to give up, I'm not going to back down, and I'm going to see this through till the end. The Bible tells us in Philippians 3:14, I press on to reach the end of the race and receive the heavenly prize for which God, through Christ Jesus, is calling us. Press, perseverance, endurance. These are such important concepts. If you want to see change happen in your life, you got to learn to press. Let me tell you a story, or start to envision this with me. Imagine that I want to gain some muscle. Not such a bad concept, right? So I go to the gym, I pay the dues, I get some gym clothes, and I go into the gym, but I don't do anything. And I say to myself, oh, why haven't I gained any muscle yet? Maybe I take one step further and I find a bar and I start to lift the bar, maybe push the bar up a little bit, but I don't have any weights on it. I say to myself again, well, what's wrong? I paid the dues, I came to the gym, I'm pressing the bar, but I'm not gaining any muscle. Obviously, you understand the point here that if you want to gain muscle, you've got to press. You got to tear down the old muscle so you can build up new muscle. So many times in life, we just want to take the easy way. We want to be able to gain something without pressing. Well, if you want to gain anything in life, as we said before, anything worth doing is worth going uphill for. If I want to look like Dwayne Johnson, I better learn to press a little bit. Areas that you can grow in to help you sprout those wings so that you can fly, because you see, the caterpillar doesn't have wings. He's got to grow those wings. So the first of those things that you need to grow in order to be a better leader, that you need to develop, that you need to press through on, is connecting. If you want to be a good leader, you got to learn to communicate. Well, the key to communication is connecting with others. Now, I talked about this a little bit already. Valuing others is the main way to become a leader. If you want to lead others, you got to love them. If you want to love them, you got to love yourself, and loving yourself requires valuing yourself. Well, as you learn to value yourself, you'll learn to value others. If you want to be a good communicator, you got to be able to value others. And a good example of that is Thomas Jefferson. And I'm going to read a quote about that, because you see, Thomas Jefferson, though he was born a landowner and had privileges and had a lot of money and resources, he was also a man that knew how to connect with others. And anytime that someone talked to him, they walked away with the understanding, they had the feeling that this is someone that I'm friends with. They felt a good connection. And here's a quote from the book, Thomas Jefferson, The Art of Power. It says, he immersed himself in the subtle skills of engaging others, chiefly by offering people that of which they value most, an attentive audience to listen to their own vision and views. In many instances, the sure route to winning a friend is not to convince them that you are right, but that you care what they think. Thomas Jefferson was a master communicator, and what made him a great communicator was that he connected well with others. Let me share a story about my time in China. You see, while we were there, we would eat Chinese food, and at the end of the week as a foreigner, I'd like to have some food that reminded me of home. And so we would go, my wife and I, we would go to this place called Peter's Tex-Mex. That's right, Peter's Tex-Mex, right in the heart of Beijing. And the manager of this restaurant was a woman named Lily. She was a Chinese lady, and she spoke good English, but it wasn't her English that made her a great communicator. It was her ability to connect with others. She understood her audience. She knew that, for example, say, foreigners like ice water. We don't want the hot water that the Chinese drink, we want ice water. We like certain desserts. We don't like the semi-sweet desserts that the Chinese like. We like apple pie and we like chocolate cake. So she understood how to connect well with others. And you would go there for the food, but you would stay for the hospitality. You would stay because you felt like you were talking with someone, not at a restaurant, but that you were at your own dining room table conversing with a friend. She asked questions and she got to know people and she got to find out what's going on in your life. She wasn't just a manager at a restaurant. She quickly became the friend of everyone that came through her door. And I think that's a great example of a good connector. The next thing I think you need to grow if you want to be a good leader is to develop priorities. People think to themselves, I've got my priorities in line, but often what it says on the calendar might be different than what you actually spend your time doing. But another one, oftentimes what you budget for might not actually be what you spent your money on. You got your priorities out of sync. So if you want to become a good leader, you got to manage your priorities. So what are your priorities? What do you want to be known for? What do you want to be known as? Are you someone that's okay with just barely getting by? Or are you someone that wants to strive for excellence? Are you someone that just uses people? Or are you someone that values and encourages people and empowers them? Think about those things. But here's the key to any growth in your life, whatever area you need to grow in your leadership, the key is perseverance. The key is endurance. The bedrock of transformation is perseverance. If you cannot learn to persevere, if you're someone that easily gives up, you easily throw in the towel, you easily give in, you will not see that change happening in your life. Growth is determined by your iron will to keep going on, to keep persevering, to keep moving forward. Winston Churchill also said, if you're going through hell, keep going. In other words, you might get knocked down, rise up again. The real leader is not the person that stays down. The real leader is the person that says, okay, I did get knocked down. What am I going to do about it? Responsibility. Remember we talked about responsibility? Take that step to get back up again and move forward. Perseverance is the bedrock of growth, as I said before. If you want to grow, if you want to have that solid ground to stand on in order to grow those wings, you got to persevere through some things. And I would just encourage you as I close this lesson out to never, 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 never give up.